Morgan, and we're back with Raising Energy on Rogers TV Roundtable. This is a very special show where we bring on experts in the energetic field, and that can be psychics and healers, anybody who works in the field of spirit work and this particular realm, and they combine the two. And today we have a very special guest. We have Terrie Christine, and she is amazing. She is a healer. She is an intuitive. I've had the pleasure of working with her and watching her work. So I am going to now bring on our very wonderful guest. Hi, Terrie. Thank you for being with me tonight.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Angel. I am so excited. I love this type of work. I love to do podcasts and telesummits and all of that, just to help people understand that there are alternative ways out there, and having the opportunity that you're holding here allows people to see that. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you. So right off the bat, there's so many different things that I want to talk to you about because you specialize in so many different realms. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was let people know, let our viewers know who you are and what you do. So I'm going to let you tell them.
Oh my goodness sake. Thank you.
Oh, I'm going to love having you as a guest.
We all have labels, and I chose this label. So I'm an internationally known intuitive energy healer and psychic medium. And so what does all that mean? So stepping into this spiritual journey and this work that I do, because this is what I do as a career, I wanted to be it all, who knows it all, does it all, has it all, sees it all, and so I'm doing it all. And, but there are a couple of things, and I don't do tarot, and I don't do astrology. There's different types of modalities. However, I work in the energetic field, the things that we can't see, but we can feel, right? So intuitive energy healer. So let's start with that one. Intuitive, using my intuition, my inner trust and knowing. And I do hands-on work and remote work, meaning that if you're local in the metropolitan DC area, you can come to me. I'll put my hands on you. If you come with physical pain, which I do have a lot of clients, and they'll walk out without the physical pain. And we could talk about that later, but we know that the body will respond to emotional situations or holding on, limiting beliefs, whatever you want to call it. The body responds, and it can turn into a physical remnant. And then that's where I'm shifting the emotional part of that physical part. And then that's where the pain goes away.
And this is the beauty of what we do, because emotional has to come out physically. So when we address that core issue, then we can move forward. So it's so lovely to hear others saying these things.
Yeah. So let's stop there and take a one step deeper. So, it's like, just tell me, we're on Clubhouse together. We're in and out of these rooms, and everybody wants to know, well, what's the quickest way from A to B or A to Z, right? Just tell me, and I'll just live this happy life with $1 million in the bank. I've been doing this work for 15 years, and I'm still a work in progress. Exactly, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But it's the subconscious. This is where you and I work. And so you cannot see, you're living here like you and I together in the conscious space. The subconscious is that trigger, the feeling. Why'd you say that? Why'd you do that? That's a feeling that's bubbled up. That's the subconscious bubbling up. And this is where you and I work. We help them put their pieces of their puzzle together, meaning I can close my eyes. I have superpowers. I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient. I'm all the other clairs, but those are my strongest. And so I'll close my eyes, I'll let a movie form, and I'll hear things as if someone's talking right next to me. And then the clairsentience, I feel it like you've heard me say, I know I'm right. I can feel it. I'm right on. It's that feeling like you just won the lottery.
Yep.
And kind of, I did, right? I got their scoop, right? I did win the lottery, which is their truth. And then I share it with them. And
well, so I love what you said. I love what you said when you said, people want that quick, I'm going to live a happy life, $1 million. And that's the whole idea with healing and this kind of work. It's not about fixing you. It's not about giving you answers per se, although in some cases it is, but it's also about guiding you to be able to heal yourself, because we have everything that we need in here.
Exactly. Now we say we have everything, but it's hard to see what that everything is. And so that everything is also quote unquote limiting beliefs. So now when we take that deeper, it's the four walls of your upbringing. It's the patterns that you see your mom and dad repeatedly doing. And you've heard friends and family members say, oh, the apple didn't fall far from the tree, because we start owning that pattern from that caregiver. And it doesn't necessarily have to be mom and dad. It could be grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, but that caregiver or the person that's in that pattern of a trial, or that the path of what you're seeing right there in front of you, right?
Yes.
And then and then it becomes, that's where the subconscious. So it becomes the subconscious. You still own it. It's a blueprint within you. And then as you're developing and growing and getting older, the experiences around you, the people around you, they could just move their arms, just like your mom used to do when she got mad at you. And you can be triggered just by that movement.
Oh, yeah. And you see this every day. You see this with your partner. You see this with, your own children. You see how they've taken on all of these patterns, even myself. I remember one time when I had this overwhelming sense of loss with children. And then when I asked, where does this come from? All of a sudden, I saw my mom. I saw my mom as a child in the war. I saw my mom's sense of loss. I saw my mom being a daycare worker because she wanted to protect children, her sense of loss. And I realized, oh, wow, I see where that's coming. And it just released, just in the acknowledgement of it.
Yes, to acknowledge it. Yes. And it's funny that you're saying what you see. So just the other day, I invited I have two girls, 25 and 23-year-old girls, amazing. I'm so grateful, for what I was able to create and help and guide them. And we were sitting at the table and I just stopped to listen. I'm very present. But I could hear everything my oldest daughter was saying was literally everything I am. And then I was listening to my youngest daughter, listening to her as if I was listening to her dad. So she has owned dad. My oldest has owned me, where most of the time, most of my life, I've always had two jobs. Now she has two jobs, and that's what part of her being. She's talk, talk, talk. I'm talk, talk, talk. She's in service. I'm in service. So it's like, oh my gosh.
Isn't it amazing though, how that works, right?
Yes.
It's amazing. Now, I have a question for you. We talk about working with the subconscious self and how it's within us and that kind of thing. So for you, does the other world play a part in that? Guides, guardians, angels, archangels, and how does that play a part in that for you?
So, again, a know-it-all who does it all. So it doesn't happen every single time, but an example, I do group energy work, I do one-on-one privates, I do remote, I do face-to-face, I do it all. And so sometimes when I'm face-to-face with a person, this is how I describe it. It's like a hologram. I can see it in my mind. I know, isn't that crazy?
It's like all of a sudden, it's like, yes, I relate. I get it. Oh my God. Sorry, go ahead.
I knew you would. No, I knew you would. So I see it in my mind's eye that's literally projecting, but I know it's in here, but I can't tell you it's in my eyes, but I can see it. It could be a form of masculine or feminine energy. I've been doing this work so long that to me, it has a feel to it. So masculine, and again, I have to say to me, because each intuitive feels things differently, what resonates within them. So for me, masculine energy feels thick, heavy, condensed, pushing, aggressive, that kind of thing, but not aggressive, hitting, but just like coming at you.
Yeah, it's a strong energy.
Yeah. Feminine is fluffy, light, expanded, frou-frou. What I mean is like, it feels all good and groovy, right? And so I can see that like hologram. I'll see a figure. Usually I don't see a face. Every once in a while I do, but I can feel the energy. So I'm feeling it. I'm seeing it through the mind's eyes. It projects through the vision. I might see something hovering over someone, but then that's when the superpowers all come and blend together. Mm-hmm. So I'll hear it talking to me. It might be a single word, it might be full-blown sentence or a conversation. It might be, more visuals in my mind's eye, not just that energy. It could be like a movie going on. And so here's the key to this. And again, it's, you know this stuff, but trust.
Yeah.
Trust. Someone said, what is the best thing, the number one thing I can get to where you are? And I said, trust. Yeah. Because when you're playing, this is playing. When yes. we're playing,
yes,
we have to trust it. So, we were on that. Here's the thing. We were on that Clubhouse. Remember that guy?
I knew you were going to bring him up. The guy with the dad.
Okay. Yes.
The guy with that was an amazing experience between you, myself, and another gentleman, Mir, who is going to be on the show later on this year. And that was amazing. Yeah. Go for it.
Yes. So for the listeners, that what happens is that someone will live in, they have to be in the conscious. I have to remember that story in my mind for it to be real. I have to see it for it to be real, right? And so for him, what we were in, we'll just leave it brief, but he wanted specifics, and I picked up an age, I picked up a parental guidance, and I picked up some of the story. And he was, no. Right. But I didn't waver. And I'm like, well, because I know on Clubhouse, I got to see it and feel it. And I'm like, no.
It's not just Clubhouse. It's not just Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah. But I'm saying because we're referring to that one particular experience. Yes, it's not just Clubhouse. So thank you for correcting that. But for him on that platform, and it was very interesting that you and that other intuitive jumped in, because I said, I just stepped back. I didn't get offended or anything.
You were amazing. You're amazing. You just kind of went, yeah, Angel, go for it. Take it. And then I saw a different perspective. And that's something we talk about on this show a lot. The whole idea that when you get other intuitives working with you, it's really about they're on one vibe, you're on another vibe. They're giving a piece of puzzle, then you get a piece of a puzzle. And it's beautiful because we can put that puzzle together so we can see that full picture. And that was an astounding example of that, where this is why I always say there's no competition, right? Yes. Because you volleyed it into my net. And then I kind of went, okay, this is what I see. And then Zmir jumped in and he was just like, yeah, and this is how we can put it all together. And then we got the full picture. And that's when this gentleman started to open his eyes, and we gave it back to you to finish it, to complete.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
It was amazing. And so, they, as in our client or someone who comes to us for information, they can say, if it's just one-on-one, no, you're wrong. But then what I tell people is that when you're working with psychics, intuitives, mediums, whatever the label you want to use, that, and of course, they're all individual, and we can go dive deeper into the others, but that if you work with 2 or 3 people, I say, we all have this superpower and vibration, meaning we could be connecting to you on, or one person could be doing a past life, another person can be connecting to your mom's stuff, another person can be connecting to your dad's stuff, or where you are right this minute, because that's what their vibration is picking up. None of us are wrong. We're all right, but we are picking up different avenues. Like someone could get into an argument at the age of 8 years old with mom and pick up 10, 100, or 10,000 limiting beliefs on the one experience.
Yes.
You're picking up the back door. I'm picking up the top door. And so,
the other person's going through the window. And then, yes, I totally.
Yes. So it's just a different angle, and just allow yourself to hear. Don't push it away.
Yeah.
Say, if you feel like you don't remember, okay, you know what? Let me take all of that information in. I, to this day, do that if somebody's given me a reading.
Yep. I tell them to keep it in their back pocket, keep it in the back of their head, because it will be revealed to you.
That's right.
And inevitably I get these emails and they just go, wow, remember what you said when? It's like, yes, I do. Well, it was confirmed. It's like, oh, that's great. That's awesome. Right. Because sometimes it doesn't even come in that moment. Right. It's amazing. I have clients who will tell me, you know what, in a session, it can be so overwhelming sometimes that we can't process. And this is one of the reasons I love these platforms, because you can go back and you can listen to it and you can work with it. Now, have you ever found anyone or any situation that was so difficult to work with that you're just like, okay, you know what, maybe this isn't a case that's for me. I call them cases. This isn't a case for me. Have you ever come across that?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
It's rare, which I'm glad it's rare. But when it does, what happens is the person automatically, and usually when it does, they've already worked with someone else and they say that person didn't work, but I resonate with you. And then when you're picking up some of their stuff, they're already going, nope, that's not it.
Yes.
And so I actually remember the last one, and it was about a year ago. Mm-hmm. And I remember her saying the same thing. I worked with someone, she was so off. I didn't like the reading and I resonated. I saw you on a podcast. I said, okay. So then I immediately picked up mom's stuff. I said when it was. She goes, no, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
So then I said, okay, hold on. So when that happens, I'll go to the back door. I'll say, let me see. And then I'll ask source energy, give me something deeper, and I'll get something else, but it still relates to that. And she goes, that doesn't resonate with me. I said, this is not subconscious, conscious work, meaning I'm working in the subconscious. You're wanting to be conscious. You can't remember. So does that mean that the tree didn't fall in the forest?
That's a wonderful way of putting it too. Yeah, I've actually had circumstances like that as well. And I find in those moments that I have to be really compassionate because I can see the hurt and the pain coming up and that you're touching a chord. And one of the things I've always try to tell people is, it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. So I really try to watch people's physicality to see when to step back. And there have been times I'm going, you know what? I'm obviously not resonating with you right now. So, you know what? Here's the name of someone else that you want to go to or that kind of thing. Or maybe we should do this another time. And inevitably, they either work with the other person and they come back because they're like, okay, or else again, I get that email going, oh, you know what? I've had time to sit with it. But it's a tricky thing, isn't it? Because people, and I'm going to say this, people's egos can be so fragile.
Right. Yeah. They want you to
so fragile, especially right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody that is in control.
Yeah.
Such control that you got to tell me the name, the time, and the day. Yeah. Oh, and was it raining or cloudy that day so that I know that happened?
Yeah. I remember one time this woman came in and she was talking about, it was in animal communications. And this woman was talking about her dogs. And I started getting her information. No. I said, you know what? Keep your money. You're good. We're good. Mm-hmm. And she goes, oh, well, do you want to meet my dogs? I said, yeah, okay. So I went out to the car and she goes, in front of me, she goes, oh yeah, she was totally inaccurate. She said this and this. And the husband looked at her and went, don't you remember? And he started validating all my points. And she looked at me, she goes, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She goes, I don't know why those things. I said, that's okay. I said, but if you'd like to step inside and pay me now, that would be great.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting thing because sometimes I find too, that people get so, again, overwhelmed that they don't remember. Mm-hmm. Right. So that they block themselves or they're not ready to hear. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's a very interesting too, is readiness. So sometimes it's not even ego. It's that it's not even right timing. It's I'm blocking myself. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that when somebody has a wall up and in that session, you can bring it down? How do you work with that?
So, with that woman who came at me, just like you, I didn't have to tell her, keep your money, because most of the clients, in order to hold the space, it has to be prepaid. But, if it gets to the point where they're pushing me so hard, and I can only remember two, and again, that was the last one, I get to say, I'm like, you know what? I can't help you. And then all of a sudden they're going, no, wait.
Yes.
I've not had to refund because I'm like, I'm here, I'm transparent, I want to help you. So if you're saying I'm not helping you, because I want you to once we're done to say, she was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the end result. And if I'm not resonating or you're not picking up what I'm saying, I don't want it to be a fight.
No, and it's okay. And that's, you're not ready and that's fine. What has been to you the most successful situation that you had? One that you could walk away and just go, wow, this has made me feel as incredible as that person I've just helped.
Oh my God, there's so many, but two in the last. The two.
It is hard to pick those ones out because I find that there's so much more of that than anything else, especially right now. So what would yours be?
All right. So I just talked about this one today, but there are two very significant. There's one that's medical that totally.
Oh, you're a
blew my
medical
mind.
intuitive as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you guys are a diamond in the rough, man. You're amazing to find. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I'm going to put her on hold because it was this other one. So at the time I had a PR agent that was, setting things up, and, it lasted a couple of months, and she got me on Let's Talk Washington, which is a subsidiary of Good Morning Washington. Mm-hmm. And I'd written my book, and it was an interview, but there were two people, a man and a woman, and the girl was a substitute for the other anchor. She was actually the meteorologist, but she was amazing. And of course, most of the time when I'm interviewed, they always say, "Do you feel my energy? Tell me about me."
Yes.
Well, yeah, exactly. And they both
did you read for me? Yeah,
exactly. And the video is on my website under media. So, but it's very sweet. And she did that, and I read them right on camera live, right? And so later on, she reached out and she said, "I totally resonate with you. I was a substitute, but I need to talk to you and I want to hire you." Oh. So she came to me for several sessions. And on the third one, it was about getting pregnant. She said, "We've been married for 5 years." And she said, "I want a baby. However, I'm in the TV land. I don't want it to affect my career. Yeah. And I'm afraid." So I said, "Okay." So psychic work comes up, the strongest probability, clearing the limiting beliefs from her subconscious.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep. Doing it all. And then I was picking up, and I told her when she was going to get pregnant. I said, "I'm feeling 2 months, girl." I said, "I know it. I can feel it." And then I kept telling her from day one, I said, "People love you. You are going to have your own show." She goes, "Absolutely not. I'm just a meteorologist." I said, No. I said, "A year. I'm telling you, just take it in.
Yeah.
Go with it.
Hold it."
Well, yep. And so when we had the interview, it was a couple of months before the COVID lockdown. And then she reached out 6 months after. We were just at the end of the lockdown. And she goes, "We need to meet." I said, "Okay." So we had lunch. Walks up. Ooh, out to there. Pregnant as pregnant can be. I said, "Hide us up from me." She said, "I need to tell you, the month was exactly the month you said." And she said, "I didn't believe you. And now you're, because, there was some fear there." So it was exactly the month. So I'm like, okay. So I saw her about, I talked to her about 4 months ago, and I did see her a month ago, but 4 months ago. And she says, "I want you to know you are absolutely spot on. I am signing tomorrow my new contract for my show."
Wow.
And it's moving over to Good Morning Washington. So she's on a national network.
That's incredible.
And what opened the door was the birth of her son, because it's a mom series.
Oh, of course. So she needed the child in order to elevate to that vibration to bring her. That's incredible.
It was so awesome.
My God, that is a great story. Oh, thank you for sharing that on this show. That's amazing.
And then I just do want to add the medical one just really quick.
Please.
So this one woman had been seeing me for several sessions about her dad or mom and all this other stuff. Then she started having some major medical conditions. She had been seeing me. I do a series of 6. We were like on the third one. And as soon as I touched her, actually the very first time I saw her, and she was reminding me, because again, we're just messengers and I didn't remember half the stuff. I told her that she has, nerve damage on the left side. And then when she started doing private sessions, I said, "You smell like a junk pile, and you're on heavy detox or heavy overload of chemicals." Wow. And I told her, I said, "You got some serious issues with your thyroid." So during the time she was working with me, she was telling me all the tests she was taking, and nobody could find anything. No general practitioner, no neurologist, nobody could find anything. Thyroid came up clear. I said, "Go to a homeopathic." I said, "You have taken every test, including a spinal tap," because she was sick, gaining weight. It was just all these symptoms. So one session with the homeopathic. Everything I said, they said she had.
Wow.
Everything.
That's
and
amazing.
I was so amazing.
Yeah.
And then with the supplements that they were recommending, she started to heal. So, you know, I work with general practitioners. I work with social workers, you know, from the
And it's
emotional aspect.
beautiful now because
Yeah.
we're being looked at as supporting modality. And they wrote
Yes.
a huge article in the Toronto Sun that I was featured in. And we talked about that, Rita and I. She's amazing. And so we were talking about that. And she goes, I love how the intuitive aspect of the medical arts now is working with the allopathic aspect in the allopathic world, Western medicine. And I thought it is amazing. So if people want to find you, because we're just going to go to break shortly,
Sure.
where will they find you and how can they follow you and how can they learn from you? Because I know you do so many different things.
Oh, awesome. So every platform that you can think about. So Facebook, it's all under my name. You can see it's terriechristine.com and my name spelled with the IE there. So you can follow me on Clubhouse where I moderate lots of different rooms. I have a lot of YouTube videos, little snippets of 3 or 4 minutes that can help you with things that are probably going on in your life right now. I do, oh my God, I have a website, which is my name. My book, The Secret Power of You, is on Amazon.
Oh, you have a book as well.
Yes.
Oh, well, we'll talk about,
yes.
we're going to talk about that in the second half. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. And there was something else I wanted to, I forgot. I completely interrupted myself and my thought there. So these are the platforms that you can be found on. And this way people can actually even sample a little bit of your work. Right.
Yes,
and that's a really important thing to do. I find that in doing a lot of the gratuity stuff or the gratis stuff, I find that a lot of people who are hesitant about the work, that I call them intuitive hesitant, they are exposed to people like us and start to become comfortable. And they're starting to walk into this world that is now, especially in this year with this new evolution that's happening, because this is the year of the energetic, they're going to be feeling more comfortable with leaders like you in this community. So when we come back, we're going to talk about how Terrie got on this path. We're going to talk about her book. We're going to talk about what got her here. And if you want to know more about this episode, if you want to know about me, it's RogersTV.com/raising energy. You can find me at Raising Energy, where you can find links to Terrie as well. And we'll be back with the second half of Raising Energy Roundtable. Hi, everybody. We're back for the second half of Raising Energy on Rogers TV Roundtable with our beautiful guest, Terrie Christine. Terrie, tell us a little bit about your journey here. How did you start? How did you know you were intuitive? How did you get started on this path and what led you here?
Yes, that's a really good question. And I love to share that. And it's a deep pain that I had to experience, actually. So I was in a 14-year relationship and I was living so far outside of myself by giving so much that I ended up with nothing inside, like an empty shell. And I got to the point where I didn't want to live anymore. And that's the truth, because when you give and give and give, and you're wanting the same unconditional love in return, and it's like you become resentful, angry, frustrated. And I had all of that. And I woke up at it was 3 a.m. I'll never forget it. Climbed out of bed. I had already been crying every day for a year because I just didn't know what else to do to show him how much the girls and I loved him. Right? So got out of bed, laid on the bathroom floor, and then magic happened. I was so distraught that I had said with all my might for God to stop my heart. I said, I'm ready. I can leave. There's nothing else I have. I had 2 beautiful, amazing girls that are, to this day, they're amazing, but I knew that they would be okay. And I didn't have anything else to go on with. And I'm like, okay, take me. I didn't, you hear that suicide or suicidal tendencies and things like that, I felt it, but I didn't have enough strength to physically do that. So I was saying, okay, God, you can do it. Just stop this and I'm good. And then I left my body. So I felt this floating. It was almost like lucid dreaming. So my eyes were closed. I was lifting from my body. I was in the center of the universe. Like literally I could see stars so close I could touch. I could feel this dampness all around me, even in my mouth. And then I felt bliss. I was at complete ease, complete grace. And I was just like, I'm done now. This is awesome. It's perfect. And then I heard 3 words: love will come. It was just like that. It was all around me. Like I was in the middle of the megaphone, very masculine, deep like that. And then all of a sudden I shook like that and swooshed back in my body. I stood up and I, like a dog out of a bath. And I'm like, whoa, wow, what just happened? I went back to bed. And as soon as I woke up, my life changed. I had this sense when a person is so low, despair, distraught, anger, frustration, those are the lowest of lows emotions. But I had hope, lifted up, something to carry me on the wave, right? I went out to the grocery store, I went to the bookstore. Girl, I was the type that I did everything in the house, type A, had a corporate job, didn't yoga, what's that? Didn't do anything spiritual, knew nothing. And then went to the bookstore and came home with a shopping cart full of books. Authors that you know today, Eckhart Tolle, Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer. I mean, these are magical people. They just fell into my shopping cart. I was reading a book a week. I couldn't even before that read a book a year. My life was so filled, but I was just doing this, absorbing it. It was all making sense.
Yep, because your vibration had shifted and they were supporting that shift.
Yes. And then when you feel like, some people say, you resonate with me, meaning they don't have to understand.
Yes.
They feel the understanding. That's what resonating means. And so when I was reading that coming from corporate America, I'm like, this is making sense, but it's kind of crazy. And then magical things started happening. People would walk to me at the grocery store, didn't even know these people, and started giving me messages. I started feeling like I had a homeopathic doctor back then. And I said, you might think I'm crazy, but I think somebody's trying to communicate with me and I can't see them. Yeah. I mean, I remember saying this stuff. And then I just started doing, what's this Reiki stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
And Reiki throws you wide open.
Yes. I call that the lily pad of energy. When you start there, it can carry you into many different elements of the spiritual journey.
I agree. And it's really funny that you say that, because I find that a lot of healers, regardless of where they come from, they have to hit that rock bottom on this physical plane to really understand where they need to go to. And it's that moment of understanding. And sometimes it's not, for me, it was rather dramatic, and it doesn't have to be dramatic. But for me, I was sitting out on my deck and I was in a really bad space. My son was still little, and this was the first time I'd ever seen a spirit, or one of the first times that came through the fence, and I was outside, and he said to me, there's no such thing as problems in life, only opportunities to learn and grow. And he was a South American man with toothy grin, mustache, very, very, very stereotypical in the fairy tale fashion. And I said, are you looking at me? I mean, look at my life. And I was so low. And like you, I was on the edge of hopeless. And he said, there's no such thing as a problem in life, only opportunities to learn and grow. And he laughed and he smiled and he walked away. And I'm like, I don't understand. And it took me about 20 minutes. And then this light went on. And I went, wow, what is the learning in this? Maybe this can benefit me. And I started asking those questions.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, my life changed, right? And all of a sudden, this path started to open up. And then, like you, the teachers started to come, the people started to open, the doors and the opportunities were, it was magic. It was magic.
Yes.
You know, and for those people out there who are on that, in that, you know, precipice of what you feel is hopeless, understand these experiences that Terrie and I have. This is not exclusive to intuitives and psychics and energetic workers.
Mm-hmm.
This is for everybody to ask. All you have to do is sit down and say, show me the hope. Right? What's next for me? Because all that's happening for you is a door is closing for another one to open. And I know that might sound new agey, but it's the truth. So the reality is when something like that is happening, what is the learning here? What is the benefit? This is a door that's closing. So, wow, I can't wait for that next door to open. Do you agree with that, Terrie?
Absolutely. I tell people, don't even, a perfect example. I had this client, she was an older woman, she was working for another person, and this other person had so many mental health issues that this one person she was just, and they were both my clients. And I kept telling the one that was getting so overwhelmed by this other one with the mental health issues, I said, I'm telling you, I can feel it. Opportunity that you cannot see is right here, but you have to trust. And please, I'm asking you, I know when I say trust me, it's trusting source energy, because I'm just a messenger.
Everything.
And what happened is that she ended up getting fired from the one who had the mental health challenges. But in 2 weeks, someone who was associated with her, I think it was trust fund or something, called her and they hired her directly. Now she works from home, makes more money, controls everything. It's like, and she said, Terrie, you kept telling me, again, they said, I didn't believe you, but you kept telling me. And it happened because I could feel it. And I kept saying, it's coming, baby.
Yes. And sometimes it's actually for us to anchor them, because I've had those clients too. I'm like, no, just, it's okay. You're still okay. It's fine. And the beautiful part is you watch people grow from that. And that's what I jive on. I really jive on watching people grow where they started. Like I have clients that started with me almost 20 years ago, 20 some odd years ago, right? People who've come in as young people and teenagers. I've watched people have children now and grow up, and I've watched them heal and grow and have new relationships. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Before we go to your book, because I do not want to forget to talk about that, the one question I have for you is, how do you feel about, because you work as a medium as well, how do you feel about healing those who are already crossed? How do we heal those people? Let's talk a little, because we don't get to talk about that enough. We talk about those who are here. Let's talk about those who are on the other side and the healing sometimes they need. Talk to us a little bit about that and how you feel.
You know, I had an experience again at the very beginning of the journey, and it was actually right before the spiritual epiphany I just shared. But my grandfather died suddenly. My sister was like so close to him. And my grandmother had passed 5 years before that. Well, he suddenly died. It totally blew her mind, meaning negatively, because she did not have the opportunity to share the goodbyes and how much she loved him. So that ended up leaving her with unfinished business along with him on the other side. Okay. So I didn't know how. I knew that every year, the anniversary of his death, she was going downhill and downhill emotionally and physically. And I was afraid to lose her. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I hired a medium. And again, this was like, whoa, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got to save her.
Yeah.
Well, she connected to my grandfather, shifted her entire world. She got the answers that she needed. She felt like she finished her business. He felt like he finished her by saying how much she cared and how he cared, and their interaction of those last couple of years before he transitioned. And it saved her. And I said to myself, I want to save lives like that. But I was I felt like she saved my sister's life.
Wow.
But because I was still in the turmoil of the father of my children and all that, before I had that spiritual epiphany, I put that on the shelf. But again, on the shelf, in the back pocket, and I held it. And I said, I'm going to follow up when I can deal with this other stuff.
Yes.
So moving forward, I was taking it was about a 9-month intuitive development course, but I stepped into it to be a medium. But I did everything else but mediumship work. Again, I know it's really weird. And so I'm like, I didn't learn that. What's it going to be? So that was what I wanted. A year from the time I graduated, and I remember my first mediumship reading. It was amazing. So I'm not going to go into that because it's a long story, but what I realized, and you just said, how are you healing the ones that transitioned? Because of unfinished business.
Yeah.
The things that they wanted to say, or the things that they couldn't see when they're physically on this plane because of their resistance, their limiting beliefs, their pushing and the pulling and all that, right? And then seeing it differently after they've transitioned, seeing what their path would have, could have, should have been, what they would have turned in, right?
It's so interesting you say that, because I have clients who will go, oh, you know what? He wasn't like that in life, or she wasn't like that in life. And I said, okay, but you have to understand that some spirits, when they cross over, all of a sudden, all that knowledge is given to them, right? So I will describe what they were like before, and then we'll come back to, hey, you know what? This is where they're at now. And they go, oh, wow, that's incredible. And then all of a sudden the tears come, and it's incredible because they're like, wow, all I wanted for them to do in life was be that person and understand those things. And all of a sudden, just that spirit coming in and going, I do understand you now. I do, I'm really sorry. Or here's the closure that you want. It's such an amazing experience to be that bridge between the two worlds, even with animals. Because I find that happens with animals as well, because I've had animals who have crossed over so fast that the owners, our bond to them is so different, and they don't get that closure that they wanted. So to be able to bring an animal in and to bring an owner in, it's such a beautiful thing for both parties.
Yes. And I've hired an animal, because I don't do animal communication. I do talk to my cat, but it is a different way of connecting energetically. And I had to hire one because it was my daughter's cat, and she, moved out. It worked out well, but she didn't take the cat. The cat sat at the door for 6 months, just sat there. And then he was peeing all over the house and peeing on the bed, my bed. And I'm like, what is going on? And she told me the cat blamed me for her going away.
Yeah.
And so he did that.
Can happen.
Yes. Yes. So she talked to him, lots of things. It's just an amazing journey where they will see things like a child, see things in their eyes, and then decide, I'm going to blame that person, or I'm mad at that person, or I may not. You might adopt a kitten or a cat from a shelter, and they may not like the new name you give them. So but
it's an amazing thing you just hit on, though. And that whole concept of it also can be healing for a family, right? And it's that whole I just had one recently, and he was upset at the dad, right? And he was peeing everywhere, and he was doing his thing, and he was trying to show them how upset he was. And she said, we're going to have to rehome this cat. I said, no, you don't. I said, get your husband to apologize to the cat. What? And I said, he's thinking things that are about rejecting the cat. He's always yelling at the cat. The two of them are always arguing, right? So he's trying to show him, and all he wants the husband to do is say he's sorry. Well, didn't he do it? And this is a guy who was really stringent, very rigid, didn't really believe it, but he did it, and everything changed, right? And the whole family shifted. So it's amazing how people like you and I, and the medium that you went to, and the animal communicator that you went to, and that shows humility on your part too, right? Okay, I don't animal communicate, so I'm going to reach out.
Absolutely.
Right?
This is worse.
So, but that's a beautiful thing. And that's really a beautiful thing, even to help viewers understand. It's that even we as readers, it is our superhero power. And I love that you said that, by the way, because I've always taught my son, it is our superhero power. It is a muscle that needs to be strengthened, but it is our superhero power, and the idea that even we reach out, we're still human. We still have that part of us that doubts. Yes. Right. And that's an incredible thing for you to acquiesce to, is these stories that are not even about you. Yeah. And that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And I sit in gratitude to you for this.
Oh, now, thank you.
Your book. Tell us about your book.
I my book, The Secret Power of You, A Guide to Mastering Your Inner Greatness. Yes, I love this. It was my journey. It was the beginning of, it tells the story of my partner. And then, I teach intuitive development. So there's simple yet profound techniques in here. It was is endorsed by Don Miguel Ruiz, who has written the 4 Agreements.
Wow.
Yes, that in itself, I'm a master manifester. So I manifested that, and I'm so honored and grateful for that experience. But it is the secret power of you within, the intuition that I talk about, the trusting and knowing, stop watering dead flowers, value yourself more. I mean, just so many really good tidbits and how to see what's holding you back. And then with some of the simple techniques in here, how to shift them, right? Nice. It's found on Amazon and also my website.
And how long did it take you to write this and gather the knowledge and information to write this book?
Thank you. Because, these questions, I've done so many podcast telesummits and all that. And sometimes those type of questions are not asked, but that's really important. It took me, I would say 6 months, but to get it to where I wanted to be a year, because I sat on it for 6 months. Because even though I'm an intuitive, we start thinking again, remember, we're human, that, am I good enough that people are going to hear me? Is this going to be something different than someone else wrote?
Yes.
And we have to realize that, but your voice is different. And even though you may be saying something, they're going to hear it different. And so 6 months. And what I did was, because I do a lot of work remotely, what I would do is record my side of what I was saying. So the recording, they couldn't hear the client answer, and all of that juicy goodness, all of those nuggets. And then I just had them transcribed. And then I just took the little tidbits and then put them in the chapters and built it that way. And then hired a content editor so she could put it in nice big form. And then I did self-publishing through BookBaby, and voila.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's so funny because this year, my fiance, who everybody knows I love to death, he said to me, he goes, "It's your year to write." Mm-hmm. And it's a really interesting thing because that's been coming more and more. And I've been doing just that, taking these tidbits from clients and what have you that I've even spoken myself, I've heard them say, but mostly what I'm hearing from spirit. And I'll put them in little posts in Instagram. And it's a really interesting, because Instagram for me is an archive. So I can go back later and utilize that. And it's interesting because you're right. That's what holds me back. And it always has with writing, is that self-doubt, that human part of me that now I'm starting to move. So hearing you say that is so inspiring to me, because I feel like I'm not alone. Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing, again, for viewers to hear, is the fact that you're not alone. You're not the only one with those doubts. You're not the only one who's saying to yourself, hey, am I enough? It's about to what degree are you saying it, and how are you going to move through that? And I think that's where people like you, Terrie, and I come into play, where we can go, okay, let's see where those self-limiting beliefs are and help you move through. And sometimes just purely through a conversation, because that part of this conversation, that's already started. I can feel that starting to unlock. And I love the fact that you said that you're a master manifester. When my son was a little boy, I remember this one instance where he wanted this game. It was like a fishy with a fishing rod kind of thing. And it was a magnet thing. And I said, you got a playroom for three children. No, I got to put up my foot. All day he cried. And so I thought, I'm going to take him to a restaurant. We're going to have a treat of it. And his hair was disheveled and you could see he was crying. And this waiter came by and he goes, can I help you? And I said, I don't know. And he just thought for a second. And there was a clown who was in a birthday party. He came and he got the clown. He got him out of his car to come back for my son. And this clown is standing there. And he goes, what am I going to do for you? And he pulls out these balloons and he makes, I kid you not, this is a true story. He makes a fishy with a fishing rod. And I looked at my son and I said to him, how did you do this? It's like a 5-year-old kid. He goes, I'm magic, mommy. And that's when I realized that not only is he magic, he is a master manifester, and he has been doing it his whole life. Flash forward. I meet this writer from the Toronto Star, and she and I are talking, and my son loves the culinary arts. And so she says to me, listen, when these big names are in town, I know people, I know like really like internationally renowned people. I say their names, you're going to know who they are. She says, let them come with me. Let them come with me. Let them come to these people. And I thought, Jesus, how does this kid do it? And so I'm listening to you talk about Don Miguel Ruiz, and I'm going, this is incredible how you people work. You know, but you don't have to be a master manifestor to your level to begin to manifest, correct?
Right. I mean, we all have to start somewhere.
Yes.
We all, right?
Yes.
I mean, and when you start to trust and you start your practicing and whatever it is that you want to practice, because there's a gazillion modalities out there. But again, I chose that I wanted to be a know-it-all who had it all. So I ended up spending 5 years on a psychic website, grew a really strong following in Canada and Australia. And then, moving into the mediumship world. And then, I always had the intuitive part, but then it just kind of merged into all these other things, right? Yeah.
This has been so exciting talk. Like my whole body is vibrating, and I love all my guests. I truly do, but everyone has such a unique vibe. And I'm finding that this year, it's really about finding your tribe. I'm noticing this everywhere, not just with intuitives. Everybody seems to be finding those, not to sound new agey, but the soul families and your soul groups. And I'm finding that, through Clubhouse, I'm finding all these wonderful energetics that I'm able to bring together on this show. And I think that's really, really important. So thank you so much for being here. We're not ending yet, but I'm just so grateful for your presence. Yes, I hear that. I'm sorry, I'm not talking to my spirit guides. I'm actually talking to my producer, and he's telling us we still have 5 minutes.
Yes, I hear that too.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for showing me. We have 5 minutes. But having said that, that does happen. I'll be going on and on and on, and all of a sudden I'll hear, okay, wrap it up. And I'll look at the clock and I'm like, oh my God, we're actually on time. Have you ever had that where you're like working with somebody and the timing is just...
Yes, all the time. All the time.
I love it. I actually had a dog once, and he turns around and he goes, wrap it up. It's almost 3 o'clock. We got to go out. And I'm just like, what the hell? What did I just hear? And I looked up, and it was literally 3 minutes to 3 minutes to 5 or 3 minutes to 3. And it was an incredible, like things like that make me go, wow, I'm not crazy. This is awesome. Have you ever had those moments where it's just so undeniable for you that spirit is in the room that you just have to take that moment and just stop?
Yes. No, honestly, yes. I mean, no, yes, but yes.
I understand that. No, yes, I'm European. No means yes. I got it. What is your background? What is your ethnic background?
I'm English and German.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And that's interesting. And I love you. Now you're in the United States. Correct?
Yeah. In Maryland, Metro DC area.
Okay. But you work globally. How do you work globally?
Yeah. There's no time and space with energy. You can connect to anybody no matter where they are in the world. I just spoke to a girl who was in Ghana. Yeah. So I felt it out.
Yeah. No matter where you are, no matter where you are watching this from right now, please understand that we're available. You can get us anywhere, anytime, and through Zoom. What platforms do you work with your clients? Is it Zoom?
So I love you so much. You're awesome. So for international people, I offer various different platforms. So I do have what's called Uber Conference, which is exactly like Zoom, but I've been doing this so long. It was before Zoom was Zoom.
Oh, okay.
And then I use Facebook Video Messenger. And sometimes WhatsApp, because, they want to just talk. Because again, you don't have to see us to believe us. You can, over the phone, we can already feel your energy, right?
Well, people ask me that all the time. And, is it as accurate over the phone or through Zoom? And I'm like, the energy is energy.
Yes.
Energy is
and I tell people that if you do have physical pain, because I do the hands-on healing, that I would prefer to do face-to-face, but not everybody lives in the Metro DC area. But honey, I got clients that were flying from North Carolina, from California, Texas, coming to see me, and they still do. They fly in to see me.
Yes. And that's awesome for people to know. I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that even though my guests are global, because Rogers TV has blessed me with that expansion with this show, I can go anywhere I want with my guests, that accessible. So it's not just about this show, it's about what happens after the show. And I think that's really important to know.
Absolutely.
So just before we wrap up, tell us again, where can people find you? Where can they connect to you? What is the best way of reaching you, Terrie?
Awesome. Thank you. So website is always the best place because you can see what I really am about, and there's videos there. So it's terriechristine.com, YouTube, Facebook, Clubhouse,
Instagram.
In Instagram. I do quite a bit of Instagram. Sorry, I knew there was one more out there. They're out there, but pretty much. And I don't mention Twitter as much. It's a little political, and that's not the direction I go.
I am with you. As much as I love Twitter, it is a little bit too much of a political platform.
Yeah.
Thank you, Terrie, for being here today. I truly appreciate you. Thank you.
I love you. I'm very honored. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And for everybody out there, if you want to reach me, you can catch me on most of the platforms Terrie just mentioned: Clubhouse, Instagram, Facebook, my website, raisingenergy.com. And now we have this beautiful new show, which is Raising Energy on Rogers TV Roundtable, that you can watch every month with us. We tape this every month, and we have our audience-based show as well. But this one you can catch and anytime right here on rogerstv.com/Raising Energy. I hope to see you next time on our next show with our next guest.